Good evening. After years of dealing with stop trains blocking rail crossings in the tri-state, leaders in railroads are now working to find ways to alleviate the congestion.
In a story you'll see only right here on Local 12, Christian Hauser shows us what's being done and how soon we could see changes to make those crossings safer.
This railroad crossing behind me here in Laughlin is probably the most well-known to be blocked. In fact, on the other side of the tracks, a house actually burned down because a stop train prevented first responders from getting there. Now, with a federal grant in place, the state and railroads are going to try and fix this issue. Seems like this stop train blocking several crossings in Laughlin have been an issue for about the past 10 years. Trains can now reach 10 or even 15,000 feet in length. So when they're forced to stop, that's a 2 or 3 mile barricade.
When you're only 1.2 square miles as a village, 2.5 mile, 3 mile trains can shut down your entire village, and which we've witnessed and had to deal with in the past.
Mason tells me it's more than just a quality of life issue for those folks who are late for work or for school.
We've had some occasions where our fire department's been delayed, our paramedic units have been delayed because of stopped trains. You know, when you have to jump on I-75 to get on the other side, those are precious moments during emergency situations.
One of the railroad companies, Norfolk Southern, has already worked to alleviate some of the congestion, adding more track along its route north of here. David Lailback with the company points out that 3 railroad companies are sharing the same tracks in and out of the Queensgate yards.
There's a lot of rail traffic that has kind of competing needs on where it needs to go. And because of that, sometimes one train has to stop in favor of another. And that's because of the physical plant that's been in place for a long time.
Ohio Rail Development Commission Executive Director Matthew Dietrich says a federal grant will be used to look at the big picture improvements that can be done to the rail service north of the Queensgate yards.
We brought all the railroads together, and we'd like to take these lists of projects and have an outside third party evaluate these projects and identify which ones are going to have the biggest improvement on railroad fluidity through the network.
Will this result in easier traffic flows for them at some point in the coming years?
I mean, that's why we started this. That is the public benefit.
While the tracks are owned by Norfolk Southern, the other major rail company in town, CSX, uses them as well. Now, CSX also owns the much larger portion of the rail yards in the Queensgate area. I did reach out to CSX for an interview, but the company refused to accommodate it. In Laughlin, I'm Christian Hauser.
And a timeline on possible improvements is expected in the next 12 to 24 months. The total project cost is estimated right now at $2 million. The Federal Railroad Administration is awarding $1.6 million of that, while the state kicks in $200,000, and then both railroads pitch in $100,000. That is each.